Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with Merri Guggisberg, our MKG parent coach and friend and woman of the hour. She's here today, and I know we're going to have another great conversation because she's helping so many families, parents, children out there like me, like you, like all of us. Welcome back, Merri. How are you?
Good, good. And it's great to see you today, too. I hope you're doing well.
I am. Thank you for being here. And for new time listeners, always good to reestablish a little bit about what MKG is and what you do as a parent coach. And then we'll lead into today's discussion.
Love it. And again, thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be with you. So MKG Parent Coach, it's my joy to support parents, caregivers, grandparents, really in that parenting role of helping them bring mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude to every parenting situation. Because you know what? I'm pretty sure your kids didn't come home with an instruction book, and mine sure didn't. So it's great to know that we can, be vulnerable and ask for support.
Yeah, it's true. We all need some of that. And what got you involved in coaching? Just a little bit about your background. What made you become a parenting coach expert?
Yeah, thank you. I was a parent educator for many years, and it was parents coming up after those 1 hour, 45-minute sessions going, helpful information, now what? And they wanted that support, that one-on-one support to really take that message and apply it into their own lives, kind of that support in their back pocket. So I meet with clients virtually from all over the world. We do a 1 hour coaching session and we just walk through the parenting challenges and celebrations, because there's great things that happen in raising kids, right? And it's having that circle of care to help give you strategies to walk through. I can't get my kiddo to go to sleep at night. I need help with screens. I need help with managing the family schedule, whatever is coming up, so that parents have those tools to show up for their loved ones.
Beautiful. And Merri, what did you have in mind for us today for our listeners and viewers to follow along with?
Yeah, so we're going to just talk about sleep and how sleep plays into our kiddos' health and our health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is we would start just, we've all heard this, the old saying, sleep is the best medicine.
Yeah.
And when we think of that, we immediately think of their physical bodies and how many hours a night do our kiddos need. And we think of it that way, but we forget the importance of that emotional health, that it really does play into the body and brain, those cognitive functions. I actually had a doctor one time. So I remember I was doing parent education, and this physician was talking with me after the session, and he goes, I appreciate what you're doing. There are so many parents that think their kiddo needs medication. As soon as we start unpacking the schedule, he's like, I want to start you on tracking your kiddo's sleep. And why he brought that up to me is when we have reduced sleep, it impacts that frontal lobe. That's the area where it regulates our thoughts and actions. And then that reduced sleep is a connection to that mental health. And it increases the concerns of anxiety, depression, and even ADHD. I don't know. It was just fascinating when this physician shared this with me. And I was like, oh, that's just so enlightening.
No, it is for sure.
And, did you have a question, my dear?
No, but sleep in general. There's there's studies about this, all right, the importance of sleep. And we know the benefits of sleep. Well, not everybody knows. They might hear them but we're going to review some of that today with you. But I want to remind everyone, I can tell you one thing, my son who's 8, he doesn't get enough sleep. He has the worst cranky, comes home, does not want to work, does not want to go to school, does not want to do sports. He needs to be in bed by 8:30. If he's not, you could see the change in his behavior, which lasts all day.
Exactly. Well, and then Jill, think of yourself, right? How do we feel if we get a good night's sleep versus a not restful, or if we're going to sleep with the stress of our jobs or the stress of something happening in our kiddos' lives, and just how do I let that go so that I can rest to show up as my best self?
Yeah.
So challenging. I came across a study from Berkeley that when they were doing research on that importance of deep sleep, and It is truly a natural inhibitor to anxiety. And a good night's rest is what reduces the activity in the amygdala, which is the emotions hub, right? So when we experience a sleepless night, that means my amygdala has to work even harder. And that can cause up to a 30% increase in anxiety levels. So when we're sleep deprived, I know it was shocking when I read this.
Wow.
And so when we're sleep deprived, that means my body and brain, now it's going to lean on adrenaline to help keep me awake and alert. So now think about our kiddos in the school day. Yeah. And then, well, little kiddo, why can't you sit still? Or high schooler, why can't you focus in this class? Well, their eyes are barely staying awake. And it may not be because the content isn't of interest. It's because their brain has just been supercharged in staying awake for the last 3 classes. And here you are, hour 4, and I'm spent. My adrenaline is just diffused. It's running on empty. So I
Yeah.
think what's helpful is how many hours a night is recommended for each age. So babies, those 4 to 12 months old, and this is all research from the American Academy of Sleep Institute. So littles, right? 4 to 12 months old, they recommend that 12 to 15 hours of sleep. That obviously includes naps. And then we have the 1 to 2-year-olds, 11 to 14 hours, again, including naps. 3 to 5, that 10 to 13 hours of sleep a night with naps. And this is the age that you and I our kiddos are there, right? Well, mine are past there, but 6 to 12-year-olds, so school age. How many hours a night do you think they recommend? Not what your kids get, but what they recommend.
10.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's right in the average. 9 to 12, exactly. Love it. And then our middle and high schoolers, 13 to 18-year-olds, that's that 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night.
Wow.
So I know, pause and just think of their schedules and think of activities. So there, whether it's extracurricular, sports, band, what time do they rise? What time do they work out? What time are they getting their homework done? Oh, and then we have faith community activities and we have family activities. I mean, even me saying it is making me tired. So yeah. So if you're concerned and you're like, I don't know how to reprogram my family to really prioritize sleep, that is a great reason to reach out for me. I mean, that's what a parent coach does, is we really help strategize and create that routine.
And the importance of sticking to a routine. Some parents say, well, oh my goodness, how do we do it? We have sports, we have this, there's different nights. And that's the normal parent life now. It's a little different. We all can't get to bed the same time every night. And that's partially to do with the sports, the extracurricular activities. But then the schools want you to participate in those things. So they say the sports are good for you. They're good for to the learning how to work with a team and having friends. But it's so overwhelmingly confusing, where it's like, how do you know your balance and your limits?
Yeah. And I don't know. I think every family is an individual here, right? And each family is going to have their own values and priorities around this. And again, that's another great strategy of why it's important to hang out with a parent coach, so that we can really walk through. Like when I start my coaching sessions, we start with, what are your family values? And then I have this little worksheet that everyone in the family goes through. And I have to share, one client, their kiddo said, I love our family because we value fun. I mean, that is just heartwarming to me to think this kiddo, I think he was 10 or 11 years old. And I'm like, we all should be saying that. We all should say, I just want to hang out with my family because they're fun.
Yeah, not everybody could say that.
Right. Yeah. But again, having it, who would have even shown a light on that if this parent hadn't reached out and said, I just want to walk through some situations with my kiddo. And that's, like I said, that's where I start in coaching, is family values. And then we build our whole foundation from there. So one value is sleep. And I will tell you, that was and it continues to be an important value for my family. So much so that my kids would be like, we're the only kids who have bedtime. We're the only ones who have a curfew. But physically, my kids didn't have ailments as often as some of their peers. Who knows what was in the air, right? It could be anything. But we know that when you get good sleep, that does play into your immunity. So some other things that could interrupt sleep, and I love that you called out, the schools and we as parents, we want our kids involved in lots of things. So it is figuring out how to have that healthy balance. So some things could be we all caffeine, or if you're an adult, alcohol before bed, that really interrupts sleep.
Sure does.
It does.
I drank too much a few weeks ago and I haven't drank wine in a long time. And I went out and I said, I will never, ever do this again. I used to be able to drink 2 or 3 glasses. I had probably 3 glasses and I felt horrible the next day. Slow to get up, but up in the middle of the night, not feeling with a headache, the stomach ache, and all day the effects lasted. And I said, wow, this does
Draining.
not do my body good. It's not as
Right.
fun as I remember. Whoa,
Yeah.
how about 1 glass, if that? And as we age, your body's
Yes.
different. I'm not used to that, but it ruined my whole day. And
Yeah.
the food that I had wasn't even that good because I didn't feel good all day. It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, but Jill, I think that leads into, we can celebrate relationships without alcohol. We can celebrate and just be together with the people we love and love us. And again, if it means holding 1 glass, okay. I mean, I drink socially, so why not, right? I mean, but it is having that guidance to know, hey, this is going to interrupt, and so that I feel good tomorrow or the next day. Some other things that interrupt sleep. Strenuous activity right before bed. So I love when you called out kiddos and sports. Sometimes ice time. I'm in Minnesota, right? Hockey is a big sport in my state, and the best ice time for those older kids is 8, 9, 10 p.m. Well, how does your body coming down from that when you've just been physically? So they really do recommend morning workouts for us, right? That's when it gets us awake and moving. We talked about meals. Also, screens, and keeping screens out of the bedroom, and using your bedroom for sleep. No eating, no sleeping. I mean, no TV in the bedroom. And that really helps my brain go, this is a room. It helps that melatonin come in, right? This room is for sleep. And it's that opportunity. And I move to what we can do as parents is it's that opportunity to have that sleep routine. What do we need to do to really have our brains get ready for taking a rest? And one thing I learned from a dear friend, she is a mindfulness coach, and she trained us on legs up the wall. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay. And I've even practiced this with some of my clients, and they'll message me and like, oh my gosh, my 9-year-old loved this. This is
Yeah.
exactly what we need. So this can be done at any time of day, but it's really great right before bed. So you scooch your tush, your bottom, as close to the wall as you can. And then you're sitting down, obviously, sitting on the floor, and then you swing your legs up and you just lay back with your legs in the air, thus legs in the air. And what this does is it just brings everything, it gets the blood flowing, it gets my brain into this state of calmness. And you don't have to do it for long, but it is such a reflective time that really does and there's lots of science behind it. I won't go into all of that, but it really is just that decompression time.
Oh, and it's so good to decompress and to feel. And let me ask you this though, on the other spectrum of that, sleep is too much sleep detrimental? Is that harmful? Is there anything about saying too much sleep isn't good?
Well, I would say too much of anything isn't good, right?
Yeah.
If you love only broccoli and water, too much, and we know both of those things are really important for
Yeah.
us. But if you only eat broccoli and you only eat water, yeah, drink water. That's probably not as healthy as a balanced. So yeah, it is. That's why I say support and having that routine, having that opportunity for a family to come together, and really, how are we going to prioritize sleep in this family? I like your question. That's great. You know,
Got
and
me
sometimes
thinking.
we think, yeah. And sometimes we think, oh, well, I'll just catch up on the weekend. It doesn't work that way. I mean, yeah, I might feel good, but this past weekend, I will tell you, we went to an event and I was up till 2 a.m. Well, I am not a night person. I felt okay on Saturday because this was Friday night. On Sunday, I was like, my husband looked at me and he's like, you were talking in almost like a foreign language because my words were all mumbled. And I said, it always happens when I don't get a good night's sleep. It doesn't show up the next day. For me, it shows up a day and a half later.
Yeah.
Weird. But good night's sleep, Sunday night, Saturday and Sunday night, and here we are. Much better.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So
Hold on,
some
hold
other
on. But I was just going to ask you about this. What do you believe in or not? I mean, you know,
yeah.
melatonin comes naturally, but what about over the counter melatonin pills? I mean, my nephew takes some 5 milligrams, but is that okay? Okay.
I would say that's a physician question, and I would definitely talk with your physician because I think one thing I would do possibly before medication is track your sleep. I went to bed at this time and this is my wake time, or this is how many times I woke up last night. And I think that helps us have a better understanding of what can I do. So that's what we were talking about. What can we do to create that healthy routine? Thus, starting with legs up the wall,
Yeah.
or did I tell you about a breath activity at this time?
Don't recall.
Well, I can't remember if we talked about it in other episodes. Um, Everybody has their
We've had
hands.
so many conversations. I'm like, I don't remember. I'm sorry. Okay, good,
No,
good.
no. And I love giving families coping tools, right? So we always have our hands with us. And this is an easy one, and kids love this one, is you just trace your fingers and you inhale. So inhale as you go up, and then you exhale. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale and exhale. And you can do it multiple times. I know, I'm guessing you've heard people do box breathing, right? Where they just
Yeah.
inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, inhale for 4 counts, and you just draw this box. Breath activities just really help everything slow down, brings us back into that present moment. Yeah, so helpful. Mindful breathing it's when we talked about self-care a few weeks ago, breathing is just, we have to do it no matter what, right? But being intentional with our breath,
Yeah.
it just really helps us be present. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying. I just had hernia surgery yesterday, so my groin is a little sore. So I'm like, breathing
Ooh,
right now is a little tough for me, but I'll get back into the groove eventually.
yeah. Well, sending you a
Re
virtual hug.
Oh, thank you. And just remind us, Mary, how do we contact you?
Yeah. So one thing, we're talking about setting up a sleep routine, and how do we do that? Next time, we're going to talk about empowered conversations. And when we talk about what we can do as parents to help really be this model,
Mm-hmm.
is having that sleep routine.
Yeah.
And it could be when our kids are little and they want to snuggle with us at night, or as they get older and we're going to go have these conversations, not a check in, how was your day? Not a what was happening? How did you do in that test? Versus that, I call them empowered conversations. And if you need help with that, that's when I would love for you to connect with me. And that there's multiple ways. You can visit my website, MKG Parent Coach, mkgparentcoach.com. You can email me, Merri, and it's spelled MERRI at parentcoach.com. And follow me. I'm on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook. I have a private Facebook group, which is that literally internal support group that I would call it our parenting village. LinkedIn, I'm on pretty much quite a few of the social platforms as well.
And what do you love most about your job? What do you love? You probably
Um,
don't consider it a job. You love it, but like, what is it about becoming a parent coach is like the best part for you?
is seeing the aha moment in my clients. Or when they come back and they're like, hey, we tried that strategy and this is what we learned. And it might have been something that stuck to the wall and it worked for their family. Or maybe it was like, we tweaked it just like this and then it worked. Because every family is unique and
Yeah.
every family has their own challenges and struggles and successes. And that's what I love about coaching, is just being that shoulder to shoulder. Let me be that support for you.
I
So
love it. I
fun.
love it. But we still have more time to talk. We're not out of time yet. What else is on your list? Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
I love it. No worries. So a couple other things that really we can do as parents when it comes to this sleep routine and sleep schedule is we have to model. We really do have to model the importance of sleep for us. So, hey, kiddo, we're all going to go to bed tonight at this time because this is what's happening in our day tomorrow. Or, wow, we all had we had this fun activity today. Let's prioritize sleep tonight so we can tell people about it tomorrow. So that modeling. Reading, I think reading before bed and reading a tangible book. We go back to that blue light study, right? And we need to have screen free where a book is the best way to still engage with your loved ones. Even if we've done things, even where all four of us, I have a son and a daughter, we've all read the same book at the same time. And then that's dinner conversation. Or when we've traveled, we've done Audible and listened to a book together. And I remember one year we were on a family vacation and my son he's like running back to the car and I'm like, what, you're excited to get in the car again? We have X number of hours to go. He's like, we have to do the book. So isn't that great? And you get
It's
to
awesome.
celebrate that together. Yeah. So yeah, again, I think the best thing is how do we have these conversations as a family, making this a priority as a family. So truly, next time I think we'll dive a little deeper into what does it mean to have an empathetic conversation? How do we have, I call them empowered conversations, compassionate conversations. How do we really hear and listen to everyone in the family?
Yeah, it's a lot to listen and to
Mhm.
learn and how and what. But it seems like you have everything together. Was everything always together for you when your kids were growing up?
Oh, that's so great. No, 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 no. Let's see. The biggest challenge is what you and I talked about last time was screens. Screens were always a tense subject in our family. We came to a family agreement though of the tech-free spaces. So even to this day, I have now young adults, when they come home, our phones are not at the dinner table. Our phones, we have tech-free time.
I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, it took time, and we all slept with our devices since we're talking about sleep. And my husband and I still do. We only two that live in our house now. We still charge our devices in the same central space where our kiddos did too, all those years ago. So yeah, sleep. Well, screens was the most challenging thing, and then finding balance in that all those extracurricular commitments.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
now today with screens, so it's even worse, I think, because
it
now they have the
is.
watches, they stay on the hand, it's like always at your, and then
Yep.
everything with school is now on the tablet on it. So they need their phones and their tablets. It's just like, I wonder what problems they're going to have, like with their necks. I think I told you my son has a neck problem from the summer being on the iPad. I took him to the doctor. His neck was down all summer on the iPad, and he
Yeah.
strained his neck. He's got muscle strain. They told him to go to like a special, get a medical massage. I'm like, what? But how is this affecting us in our hands of typing? And it's just, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things we don't see yet coming from this, and then let alone the eye, the blue screen,
Mhm.
the everyone's vision.
Yes,
How
and
is that going?
vision.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I would just say when you're talking about how do we handle all this, it's a great reason that you would work with a coach, right? A coach is going to help you have one, the conversations, and two, the strategies. One thing I also enjoy is when I get to role play with the client. So you be the kid, I'll be the parent, and then vice versa. And we really do unpack. Well, my kid's only going to slam the door, and this is so then we get to, okay, well, how are we going to walk into this? What are we going to do so that we can show up with that love and care and have those conversations to care for all?
Oh, thank you. All right. So to sum up today, we
Yeah.
learned sleep is important,
Yes.
habit, routine. What else? Go ahead.
Yep. And how to have those conversations around making it an important value for the whole family.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And if we want to work with a parent coach like yourself, how does it work to do this? What type of packages do you offer? How much
Thank you.
time do you recommend? Give us a little bit of a breakdown if you can.
Yeah. What I have found is I have a 3-month program, so 12 sessions. And that's fabulous. Though a lot of parents like to tip their toe in and they just want to try. So I have a 6-week package as well. And we meet once every other week so that we'll talk about what's happening, and then we unpack. You get to go live it, and then we unpack it the next call. And I have strategies. We talk about those family values,
Yeah.
5 love languages. How do we show up and be that voice of care in all situations for our kiddo?
Oh, thank you so much. And if we want to reach out to you at MKG Parent Coaching, how do we do so?
Yeah. So again, jump on my website, mkgparentcoach.com. I have a schedule link right there. Jump in for a call. Let's just learn what's happening so we can celebrate and walk through those challenges together and see if we're a good fit for each other.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. To all of our listeners, please stay tuned. We'll have more coming up after the break. And are we on again next week?
Yes, we got each other
Awesome.
next week. Empowered conversations.
I was going to say any tip. All right.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll be empowering. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Have a great
bless
day,
you.
sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.